We were very happy to finally come to the part of the restoration process on our 1969 Firebird Project Routy, where we were actually starting to put pieces back together on this car. We got the body tub, the bottom side and the firewall all fixed and prettied up and painted. And now it was finally time to start putting the suspension together so that we could put the car on its wheels in preparation for final paint and body work. The suspension parts are going to be a lot of restoration pieces, just new versions of the original stuff. And then we wanted to throw a few tricks in there to make it ride and handle a little bit better, but without breaking the bank with a full aftermarket custom suspension system. The control arms are stock, but we've installed some Global West Del-A-Lum bushings, which are a combination of aluminum and a material called Delran, which allows these control arms to smoothly articulate. We also put new cross shafts in on the upper control arms and all new hardware for all the control arm bolts. One challenge was to put the front springs in without the whole weight of the car and the engine in place, because normally you can just compress that lower control arm, which will crush the spring and allow you to put the spindles together. But in our case, it was just a subframe. So in the meantime, what we decided to do was make some simulators. These are basically solid bars that bolt in where the shocks will go, and when it's all finished, it will allow us to put the car on its wheels without having the actual coil springs in place. When the car's more of a car and has some weight on it, we'll go ahead and install the QA1 coil-over shock assemblies, and it'll be correct. But in the meantime, these spacers will do the trick. We got some new ball joints and tie rod ends and a center link and an idler arm from Classic Industries. These will make the car feel a lot tighter and remove a lot of the slop from the steering system. We also got a new steering box from Classic Industries. The original box, we don't even know how many miles were on this car, and it's just cheap insurance to make sure that it's not going to be real sloppy. Once the whole front suspension and subframe were all mocked together, we decided to attach the subframe to the body of the car. And the way we did this is we put the body tub on the lift, and then we used some go jacks to kind of guide the front subframe with wheels and tires into proper position. And this is crucial because if you don't get that subframe aligned with the body properly now, you'll never get your front sheet metal to line up, and the gaps won't be right, and the whole thing will be off. So luckily, GM incorporated some guide holes, which are on the subframe. You'll see them next to the front body mount bushing area, and there's some holes at that body mount on the body. And what you do is run, I think they're 5/8 bolts right through those guide holes to line that subframe up. We're using a whole new bushing kit from Classic Industries, so we won't have any saggy or soft or overly crushed control arm bushings. And then to make sure that the whole thing is lined up properly, there's another guide hole in the front cross member where the engine goes, and we use the old-fashioned technique of tape measure and stringing it out to measure left to right to make sure that this thing was perfectly square with the body. So now we'll have a nice solid foundation to make sure that all the sheet metal fits properly when we get to that stage. Then we went underneath and properly torqued all those subframe bolts, because the proper torque setting will crush the bushings the right amount and everything will fit right. The next step was to move to the rear of the car.
So we're at the process of assembling some of the 69 Firebird, and the reason we're doing some of it is in order to put the front clip on, the car has to be on its wheels. So we have put the subframe on and the rear end, and we're just using the original rear end. We're waiting to find out if we may be getting a different new rear end or not. We're not sure yet.
We're very soon going to install a Curry 9 Plus custom crate rear end so that this car has a better gear choice and a better differential than the stock unit.
We did install some Detroit Speed 3-inch drop leaf springs and some new Del-A-Lum bushings from Global West and the shackles. So in the process of that, we realized that when we took the old ones out, we actually broke some of the clips that hold in this front leaf spring bracket. Upon assembly, we couldn't find any clips like them at all. The problem was the depth, that they needed to go in from the frame rail to go into this hole. Most of our other body type J-clips or U-clips they call them didn't reach. We couldn't find anything. I went through the Fastenal catalog, and I went through a company we have locally called Crest Midwest that usually has most of the clips, bolts, nuts, washers we need to assemble the cars. Neither one of them had them. So Kevin suggested I check Classic Industries, and I thought, why in the world would they have this type of a clip? In fact, they did, and I was pretty shocked. And it's silly, it's a $7 thing, it's 6 clips, but is exactly what we needed for these brackets. And in fact, they have the brackets as well. The clips look like this, and they go the depth that we needed, and they're the right bolt size, and they are new, and they work. And they go, and they also, Classic also has this bracket where the clips go in like this in order to hold that bolt in. And there's 3 of them needed for each side, and Classic had them, and all these other companies didn't. So a yay for Classic for carrying parts I didn't expect you to have.
And finally, our body man Nathan is able to come in and start reassembling all the sheet metal and getting all the panels to line up in preparation for final body work and paint.